It wasn't a bank heist, a government stimulus, or a coordinated hack, it was something much cleaner, a global variable update. At exactly 8 o'clock Universal Time Coordinated, a ghost in the machine executed a command that rewrote human history in a single heartbeat, depositing exactly $10,000 into every digital wallet on Earth. For 3 hours, the world felt like a video game with an infinite money glitch. From the slums of Mumbai to the penthouses of Tokyo, poverty was effectively deleted. But in a global system built on the rigid pillars of debt and scarcity, universal equality isn't a miracle, it is a critical, system-level error. The euphoria lasted only as long as it took for the first person to try and buy a loaf of bread. We often forget that the economy isn't actually a pool of money, it is a massive, just-in-time loop powered entirely by the survival instinct and the need for a paycheck. When every person on the planet suddenly has a $10,000 cushion, that loop snaps. By noon, the I Quit wave hit the global server like a DDoS attack. Why flip burgers, scrub floors, or drive a delivery truck for $15 an hour when you've just hit the jackpot? Across every continent, the gears of civilization ground to a halt. Delivery vans were abandoned mid-highway with their doors wide open, factories went silent, and the grocery store shelves became nothing more than empty black lines. We learned the hard way that money is only a claim on someone else's labor, and if no one is willing to work, your $10,000 is just a high-resolution image of a ghost. By day 3, the banking back-end began to smoke. As 8 billion people tried to cash out their digital windfall simultaneously, the trust that holds digital digits together evaporated. Central banks scrambled to hit a delete button that didn't exist, realizing too late that you can't ring a bell heard by the entire planet. The global ledger became a ghost town, and the screen simply read, "For 04, wealth not found." This was the moment the status symbols died. In a world with no supply chain, you can't eat a brand name, and you can't build a shelter out of a luxury watch. Imagine standing in line for hours, holding a glowing gold Rolex, only to have the grocer point to a handwritten sign that says, "No glitter. Only tools or seeds." In this broken system, the social hierarchy flipped overnight. The paper pushers and middle managers, people whose value was tied to the digital ledger, fell to the absolute bottom. The makers, the farmers, the mechanics, the electricians, and the engineers became the new elite. As the central ledgers died, a new priesthood of IT professionals emerged from the chaos. While the world panicked over worthless paper, those of us who understand logic gates and hardware stayed quiet. We stopped building social apps and started building the mesh. Using scrap laptops, salvaged car batteries, and DIY radio antennas, we created decentralized networks that bypassed the frozen banks entirely. We returned to the oldest, most honest trade in human history, skill for skill. On the mesh, the currency was utility. 1 hour of coding was worth 3 liters of milk. A repaired circuit board could be traded for a bag of heirloom seeds. Value returned to its purest form, what you can actually contribute to the person standing in front of you. The state tried to launch a patch called the G-Coin, programmable money with an expiry date to force people back into the old cubicles. But the underground had already moved on to a different protocol. The glitch didn't actually break the world, it simply broke our illusions. It forced us to admit that the old system was a collective hallucination we all agreed to see. It taught us that real value isn't a flickering digit in a database, it is the seed in the ground, the wrench in your hand, and the specialized knowledge stored in your head. The old world is a dead link, a corrupted file that can't be recovered. The numbers are gone, the screens are dark, and the central banks have lost their signal. So, as the grid resets and we start from zero, I have to ask you, when the hallucination ends, what exactly are you going to build?